San Bernardino is located 62 miles east of Los Angeles, California. In the late 1800s, the city of San Bernardino became an important railroad hub. This depot was built in 1886. Shops for locomotives and cars were soon built. In 1916, one of the shop buildings caught fire. Embers from that building blew onto the depot. Both buildings burned to the ground. A new depot was designed by W.H. Moore. Plans were soon drawn up. Construction using steel and concrete began. The depot opened in July 1918. Like the previous wooden depot, the new one included a Harvey House lunch counter and newsstands. Later construction continued at the east end of the depot. The new space housed a sit-down Harvey House restaurant on the ground floor. A separate building was a two-story dormitory for the Harvey girls. The restaurant offered the best that the Fred Harvey Company had to offer. This 1923 view shows some of the many passenger trains that stopped at the depot every day. By the early 1930s, foliage had grown up on the walls. A Pacific Electric trolley rolls past. It would follow this curving route southwest of the depot and head to Colton. In the 1940s, the Fred Harvey services ended and the trolleys were replaced by buses. As with all major railroad towns during World War II, San Bernardino was busy with military personnel and civilian travelers. Santa Fe placed many advertisements, including these, about the role of citrus and the importance of female workers during wartime. Through the years, a variety of famous people and some out-of-the-ordinary activities could be seen at both the original wooden depot and the current concrete one. Some of those included President Teddy Roosevelt posing in a locomotive before making a speech in 1903. Death Valley Scotty's special train briefly stopped at the depot for water and a helper engine on a record-setting run to Chicago in 1905. Locomotive 442 was the engine that pulled his train on the first leg from Los Angeles through San Bernardino and on to Barstow. In 1929, some passengers transferred to an airship to continue their journey. They arrived on a Union Pacific train, then boarded the blimp to continue on to Los Angeles. In 2007, scenes from the Changeling movie were filmed at the depot. The depot was backdated to the 1920s and represented a combined Union Pacific and Southern Pacific station in Los Angeles. Streamliner trains began running in the 1930s as shown on this postcard. From the 1940s into the 1970s, many looked like this one near Fifth Street, just north of the depot. It's the Santa Fe Super Chief El Capitan arriving at the depot in 1970. Originally, two separate trains, the Super Chief and El Capitan, were combined into one in the years just before Amtrak took over. In the early 1990s, the railroad moved its shops and offices elsewhere. The depot became the property of the San Bernardino Associated Governments in preparation for Metrolink commuter trains to Los Angeles. The depot remained vacant for about 10 years and deteriorated badly. In 2001, it was listed on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. From 2002 through 2004, the depot was restored. To celebrate, the grand opening in 2004 included restored steam engine Santa Fe 3751 and a variety of displays by civic organizations. In the present day, much has changed. The builder of the depot, Santa Fe Railway, was merged with others to form BNSF. The former railroad shops north of the depot were replaced with intermodal facilities, serving customers around the world. Still, the depot remains as a connection to the past, with the exterior and waiting room restored to its earlier appearance. A model of the depot is on display in the waiting room. Although intended for Metrolink and Amtrak passengers, it is open to the public. At the original ticket counter, coffee and snacks are available. The eastern part of the ground floor and most of the second floor are occupied by government offices. The building is so large because it was the Los Angeles division offices of the Santa Fe. That meant it housed management for the railroad from the Arizona border to Los Angeles and south to San Diego. This included the superintendent and his staff, the division engineer and his staff to make drawings, and train dispatchers, to name just 3 of the functions. On the ground floor, large rooms were originally for the handling of baggage, express items, and U.S. mail. Now the space is a museum.
Welcome to the San Bernardino History and Railroad Museum. The museum has been open since 2008 and houses a great collection of railroad and San Bernardino history. Lanterns that we have range from all the different types and styles that Santa Fe used during that period. We also have a motor car collection that ranges from 1880s to 1950. The clocks that we have on display all came from this location except the time clock. The pendulums are mercury filled, and again they were all located in this depot.
Near the museum, the Santa Fe Railway Historical and Modeling Society contains tens of thousands of historic items. Some are on display, most are not. However, everyone is welcome to have the staff locate archived historical items. In 1958, retired Santa Fe steam locomotive 3751 was given to the city of San Bernardino and placed on display in Viaduct Park, across from the depot. It remained on display until 1986, when it was acquired by the San Bernardino Railroad Historical Society. Here it is in 2014, arriving at one of the many Railroad Days festivals at the depot. Present-day passenger operations include 2 Amtrak trains per day and numerous Metrolink commuter trains. The depot celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2018. Along with the festivities, this plaque was placed near the 3rd Street entrance. San Bernardino has been an important transportation hub since 1886 and promises to continue that well into the future.